Good morning, Canada, US, and the Americas. Good afternoon, Europe, and good evening, Asia. Hello, everyone, and warmly welcome to the second Lumon PRO Webinar. My name is Niklas Satola, and I will be your host today. We are so happy to see that more than 300 registered attendees from over 20 countries have tuned in together with us today. We warmly welcome all of you. We have prepared a very special and interesting event today, Building Facades of the Future. What might the facades look like? What are the trends in private sector construction? How has this recent area we are living changed the way we live? And much, much more. So stay tuned. The agenda of today will be very shortly as follows. Our CEO from Canada, Olli Vanska, will have a welcome speech going through different kind of facades and ideas from all around the world. Mark will talk about the balcony glazing concept and the product general benefits. After that, Henry will take us through the specific concepts and benefits of these kind of systems. We will have a guest speaker, and after that, we will have a Q&A session about 10 minutes, more or less. So we will be finishing in 1 hour time. Remember, you can write down your questions in the chat. We will try to answer all of the questions, as many questions as we can during this event. If we don't answer your specific question, we will get back to you privately during the upcoming days. So once again, welcome all of you, and let's get started with this event. And the first speaker, let's see, the first speaker will be Olli Vanska, our CEO of Canada. Hello, Olli. Greetings from Spain, wherever you might find yourself. The stage is yours.
Hello, Niklas. Hello, Niklas. Good to see you, and thanks for introduction. Yeah, let's go to our today's topic, and it's, as Niklas said, it's really great pleasure to see so many attendees today in this presentation. And when we talk about the new concept of balcony living, it's something that it's happening right now. It's not something that it's only the future thing, but we can see that on the marketplace, it's happening right now. And obviously, we have seen recently a lot of big changes happening in our life, and that certainly has affected also to this balcony concept. And when we look at the balcony space overall, over the years, it's been always the situation almost that it's not been fully used. And we have been thinking, how can we create the space that it's meaningful and people can really, in practical ways, to use the space. And that way, it's easy for user, and something that they can just enjoy to be in that space. And spend the really meaningful time with their families. And when we have trying to consider this space, how can we use it? No, for some reason it's not moving. We have almost forgotten this space in design phase, that what's between the exterior and an interior. And we all know that the interior side, there's a lot of development, a lot of new features what we have created over the years, and architects have put a lot of time to, and designers to what they can do inside and how they can use that space as efficiently as possible, and that customers can really enjoy their homes. And then obviously exterior space is often, we have parks, we have whatever creative communities around these spaces, but this space between is something that we have to reconsider. And when we look at this, traditionally, it has been the case that we have mainly seen only open balconies. This is very familiar to see all around the world, that the balconies are open. And many developers, even when I think about 10 years back in North America, they said that this is just the totally useless space. It's costly. It costs, like, a maintenance cost is high, and we wouldn't even like to have those balconies. But over the years, we have seen that customers, they still want to have the space. They don't want to give up their own outdoor space. But that's true that it's almost useless in many countries where weather changes over the seasons. And for that reason, we really have a need to reconsider this. And what has happened, and now during the last year and a half, this COVID pandemic has changed everything. In very short time, we have seen the change and need to how we can better use this balcony space to offer that to our customers, and that way that they can enjoy their private outdoor space if they are not even allowed to go outside. Otherwise, at least they have a space where they can go. So this has been a huge change to use this space and how we actually define the balcony space today. Something now that's lagging behind. Sorry about that. When we talk about the history of the glazed balconies, we can see that people always, they have wanted to use that space in some way. And there's multiple ways to that people, how they have built the different type of structures, do it yourself kind of type of thing. And that already has changed the appearance of the building. And even the many framed solutions that we can see around the world are also changing the appearance of the building that architects originally had designed to look in certain type. And for that reason, it's been very much not liked that when people have been doing these additions to their balconies. So Lumon, we have tried to develop the product is totally not visible, and it doesn't change the appearance of the building, but it's still practical. And that's where we are going today. Like, how can we change the balcony life and be part of the design of the whole building? So when we look at the trends, this outdoor living is huge, and it's coming more and more popular, and we can see that people don't want to give up this one of the most expensive real estate piece that they have in their hands. When they have their own balcony space, outdoor space that they could use more, and at the same time they have paid all that cost to have that balcony space, and at the same time they are not able to use it. So we really can see this trend changing. So people appreciate the outdoor space, they want to use it, and also designers have seen it, that they have to change their design the way that it actually works for their customers. And that's something that this new concept of balcony living, a new product, allows that this balcony space is much more used. And at the same time, we don't need to give up that traditional use of the balcony being in an outdoor space, but we rather are able to use that in different and flexible ways to make sure that it's always usable despite the weather. So we have developed the model and the products that we are able to transform the unused space that will change the way we live. And as I said earlier, this is changing really, really fast. Something that we didn't even expect a couple of years back to happen, but now in the last, during this pandemic, it has changed everything in this design phase. And at the same time, when we transform that, why it changes the whole way of living, the reason for that is that now all of a sudden the whole city is alive. It's not like a dead city anymore, that people are not on their balconies, but all of a sudden you can see how people are using that space. They're communicating with each other. It creates the internal community within the buildings, and it totally changes the life and the way that we connect and live together in those communities. So this product is not only meant to change the life of people, but it's also the better for our world. We're creating better homes. We are also creating a better world. The way that the sustainable solution, we will hear more about that in when Mark and Henry will speak, how it will affect this sustainability and how we can improve the performance of the whole building, and how we can create the space that is flexible without losing the original meaning of the balcony space. Really, really important topics, and how we can change again this life on the balconies. At the same time, as I said earlier, we are still outdoors. We are not indoors, but we are not fully outdoors if you want to be a little bit indoors. And it's not something that people are, as we saw in the previous pictures, done by themselves, but it is done by professionals who are, when the product is tested professionally to make sure that it meets all the engineering criteria and so on. And in that sense, it's really, really critical that it's done right. And Lumon, who has a long experience in this field, they have developed a product that can take all these wind loads and whatever is needed to meet the engineering and then local building codes in each country to make sure that we are able to supply the product that meets those local requirements. And that's really critical as well when we talk about the changing this outdoor living, that it's done right, it's done professionally and tested properly. So when we look at today, the balcony without glazing is not a balcony anymore. It's just some useless space. But when it's done right, according to also what building science supports, to have a simple glass walls, convertible glass walls that allows to use that in flexible ways, that's the new definition of the balcony. And that will happen. I can tell you that based on the market feedback, this is happening everywhere. It's happening in North America, it's happening in Europe, and Southern Europe, in Spain, in Germany, everywhere. It's the new concept of living is happening, and we're really happy to help our customers to make it happen. So we can create multi-purpose space that people can use in multiple different ways depending on their life situation. And Mark de Graaf, who is our business developer in Western Canada and US, will tell more about those details, that how we can use the space in multi-purpose way, and how we have experienced based on the customer feedback, that how they also see this concept developing over the years. So thanks, Mark, coming here, and stage is yours. You can continue from here.
Thanks, Oli. Thanks for that introduction. Welcome everybody to our international webinar. I'm very excited to share more about our company Lumon and our innovative concept. My name is Mark de Graaf. I'm the Business Development Director for here in Western Canada and for the United States. We're pleased to have you here today. So I'm here wanted to share some of the things that I've been sharing for the last 3 years with a lot of the developers and architects here when it comes to opportunities in the multi-residential housing. And we for our customers, and there is some major opportunities now when we hear from customers of what their needs are when it comes to when they live in condos and around the world. And the number one thing that we've been talking about for so many years here at Lumon is lifestyle and livability, that opportunity of making that balcony, that extra space outside of the building envelope, outside of the condo in the apartment, and turning that into, just like we said, just a lot more usable space. And with that space, for most of our climates here, that we've been able to enjoy those spaces with our retractable glass for year-round enjoyment. And here's a good example of one just outside of Vancouver here, and showing a couple panels open as well, because you do have the opportunity to open up as many panels as you like. And we can offer that year-round enjoyment with the extra protection that we receive from the elements. One of the main things for people, and one of the biggest complaints that people have for living in condos, is the amount, and for apartments, is the amount of rain and wind that they experience. So that extra layer of protection from the elements. And a good example, I lived in a building outside of Vancouver in Burnaby, and this is actually a place where I used to live on for about 3 years, and I didn't get to use my balcony very often. It was on the 31st floor of a building there, and it wasn't just the wind, but I was surprised with even just the amount of snow on the 31st floor. And they say it doesn't snow very much in Vancouver, but here's an example of my balcony, but it was the wind buffeting that was the biggest problem for me, not being able to use that space with my family. And on a similar day, one of my colleagues from Toronto posted balcony here. It's a very similar situation up on a higher floor and similar kind of weather with the snow and all that, just showing that space, being able to just use that space a lot more comfortably for that kind of weather. And then also some of the other benefits I'd like to talk about today is just the natural health benefits. Our friends from IBI shared some information about the benefits that come from the natural light that is in that space, and the health benefits that come along with that, and just access to fresh air, that sort of thing as well, and health benefits that come along with that. And then with COVID now, we've learned some lessons here as far as outdoor living and just that extra space here, and the extra degree the balcony has become a lot more valuable. And just a space for maybe to do work as well from home, that sort of thing. So what are the advantages, or what are the benefits for the developers? Well, as Oli mentioned, the outdoor living is the next big thing, and this trend can be becoming more and more common here. And a lot of times when we've shared our information and our concept with developers, one of the comments that we always get back, well, this is a game changer. And so many developers are adding amenity spaces, outdoor rooms, that kind of thing. But this is more of a private thing where people can have their own space, enjoy with their friends, their family on their own balconies. My arrow's not working here. And in Europe, for many years, developers have been marketing that space, the outdoor space, showing that transition from the inside to the outside. And the solarium is just one of the terminologies that's been used. There's many ways to call it. Some people call it retractable glazing. Some people call it convertible balconies, that kind of thing. But solariums do have that high perceived value. But again, just showing that connection from the indoor space to the outdoor space as well. And part of a survey that we'd like to share that was in Europe, and we don't think that for North America, people are much different here. But the survey told us that about 80% of the people surveyed thought that the extra solarium or outdoor space, Lumon outdoor space with retractable glass added more than 5% value to the apartment. And then on the marketing side here for developers as well, this trend is becoming more and more common here, showing the livable square footage, and in the marketing materials showing the inside space again and the outside space being used. and taking that combination of inside and outdoor space and adding it to the total livable square footage. And another example from one of our developers there, where they highlight most developers that have used our concept also, there's only so much you can do with kitchens as far as, or I should say, sorry, excuse me, with flooring, fixtures, cabinets, that sort of thing. So that outdoor space has become the #1 selling feature for any developer that's included our concept. And this is a good example of a billboard outside of our presentation center, highlighting the fact that the development has the outdoor Lumon enclosed balconies there. And for many developers, what we've heard is the balcony has never been a space where they've been able to have it as generating a profit or a revenue from. And we can help make that space just a lot more profitable by adding our concept. And our goal is to help sell units faster and for higher margins. And this has been the case with pretty well every developer that we've worked with around the world. They've told us how fast and how pleased they are with the results that they received from their marketing efforts that were centered around the Lumon retractable solariums. And what are the benefits for architects? Well, for architects, we like to think with our system, very clean, very modern, minimalistic lines, not adding to the bulk of the building. And also helping to provide a more interesting facade. As everybody knows, the balcony is quite a prominent portion of the building. And we can definitely help make that more interesting. And we have many, many treatments as far as the different types of glass, that kind of thing that we can do. And for architects as well, just creating that space that people can enjoy, that outdoor space. A good example of a few panels open on this balcony here. And many of the developers, one in particular here, have, with the success that they've received from their marketing efforts, again, including our concept on condos, but also moving towards the townhomes or row homes as well, and including our concept there. And just a good example of a townhouse where they've done a conventional roof and then our wall system underneath that as well. And some other examples of townhouses or row homes. And then Lumon also, the benefits of just what it has to do with the life cycle cost of the property with the energy savings, and also the sustainability factor for less cost, less repairs, maintenance over time, that sort of thing as well. And then for architects being able to, we have all our product solutions as far as our retractable glazing. And when we talk about the Lumon system, it always is with the upper retractable glass and our railing systems for the complete wall system. And then we do optional blinds available. And in cases where you also have the Lumon roof system as well. And then for architects, we do have all the tools, design tools available for them. We can provide that directly, or we also have that available through our website through the ProdLib library there. And then for general contractor benefits as well, this happens to be a large project that we're involved with outside of Helsinki here with a large developer called Yet. We've been working with them for about 30 years now, many units through Northern Europe and Scandinavia. But for Lumon, for our Lumon design, order, and delivery process, we've done over 1 million balconies around the world. So we've learned quite a few things as far as going through our logistics, the measuring, the ordering. We actually measure every balcony is made, goes into production and through our order system and process. And then for our site logistics, again, just after doing so many balconies, we've learned how important it is to get the materials on site. We're usually one of the last trades to be on site there. And for accessing the suites is being able to do that from the balcony glazing from inside the balcony there. Then also with the shorter delivery times from our factory, shorter installation time on site. And then also with our production process, everything's all prefabricated, made there for every balcony. And then just with our better site logistics and clear labeling of the product, so when we do get it on site, it makes it easier and we can expedite delivery as well. And what are the benefits of working with Lumon? Well, after we've been doing this for 40 years with our frameless glazing system, easy installation, all-in-one glazing solution, and logistics and transport delivery times well packed and makes our product work faster on site. And we like to it's important we understand risks that developers assume, so we know that we have to be a reliable partner. This happens to be a photo, in case you're wondering, this happens to be one of our factories, one of 3 factories around the world. This is in Kouvola outside of Helsinki there. And we produce, out of that factory alone, we produce over 2,000 panels of glass per day. It's quite an automated factory there. And the whole chain, this whole supply chain for R&D from manufacturing, sales, installation, and design. And a strong brand and high quality products for the leading company in the balcony facade business. We work closely with developers and architects on the design solutions. And as mentioned, we manage the whole supply chain, and nowadays we've learned some lessons with COVID and how important that is. And we've been very, very effective during the pandemic of being able to manage that supply chain properly. And Lumon, as your reliable partner with your comprehensive approach to design and our responsibilities, we have over 1,500 employees in our company. And all the installations, everything is all done, service installation after is all done by Lumon employees as well throughout the world. And Lumon has grown from being in just Finland to other parts of the world. We now operate, as Ole mentioned, in 20 countries around the world. I'll just give you a bit of a quick tour around the world there with our balconies, some examples of different types of buildings that we've installed our products on. You'll notice lots of different styles of buildings. We like to think our system complements the different types of architecture. An interesting kind of an exoskeleton on a project that we were involved in Belgium. They have the core of the building and then our system on the outside of the building with the exoskeleton there and quite large outdoor spaces. And other examples from Russia, Norway, Germany, Sweden. Other countries around the world. Some interesting facades. And for here, closer to home for us here in Canada, here, one of our first buildings in Vancouver called Coco. And another one in the east with my colleagues there, Henry, with our building with Mattamy Homes there. And then our company also is involved in renovations, not just on new buildings, but the renovations and changing the outside appearance of the building and adding the extra glazing for the outdoor living spaces. And I'd like to introduce Henry Nieuwenhuis, my colleague from Eastern Canada.
Thanks, Mark. Really appreciate that introduction. Good day to everybody. Good afternoon and good evening and good morning. I get the great privilege of sharing with you some of the additional specific benefits of the glazing systems on balconies. Just a little bit of delay here on the slide. Apologies. Okay, now it's working. One of the great benefits that our systems provide for a lot of developments is noise reduction, not only in the balcony of itself, but also within the unit or the condo dweller or the apartment liver. With many of the infill projects that are happening in a lot of the cities and municipalities are requiring to have a certain amount of sound reduction during the approval process. And with having our glazing systems on the projects, you're going to achieve around 50% of noise reduction or mitigation, which is a great benefit for a lot of these projects. You know, people have that livable space outside, and in order to be actually make it functional, having that noise reduction is having that great benefit added to it. And we're having the glazing system on the balconies, both using our balustrade systems and the retractable glazing portion. The sound reduction is happening up to 27 decibels. That is a fairly large, significant reduction. But on average, depending on the style and the shape of the balconies that are designed and the thickness of the glazing that is used, on average, you have a 10 decibel reduction, which is a reduction of 50% of the audible noise. Another great benefit of the glazing systems on projects is the potential of energy savings of up to 34%. This is something that is quite achievable in a number of parts of the world. And we've done several studies in parts of Europe where there's a variety of energy saving levels. And ironically, the most southern regions of Europe, you are achieving the greater energy savings percentages. The climates in Europe are very similar to North American climates, so it easily can be transposed to the North American climates. And it is a great benefit to have this as part of the plan to create more energy efficient structures. One of the other great benefits of having our systems on projects is better fire and smoke mitigation. Although this is not as recognized in North America as of yet, but studies have been done in areas of Europe and Germany and other areas where projects that have had glazings on has had great improvement in the fire prevention or spread on buildings. One of the main causes of fires on projects is having a careless use of smoking, throwing cigarette butts over the railings, landing on other people's patio furniture and the like, or careless use of lighters or fire tables. But if and when fire does occur on balconies, it is usually contained to the balcony it starts on or limiting the spread to other units on the building. We at Lumon, we care about the environment, and as a global company, we have goals to be carbon neutral in the future. But as our current processes are continually being refined, the products that we use, namely glass and aluminum, and also what we're doing to help our clients to improve the energy levels on their buildings, our carbon footprint is being reduced greatly. Majority of our materials that are used within our systems are 100% recyclable. We have, over the years, changed a lot of the designs of the balcony glazing, reducing the amount of aluminum that's incurred, and also increasing the amount of recyclable glass that is used in the glass. But our products are, majority of the products within these systems are 100% recyclable. As most companies are, the concern for the environment, the concern for CO2 levels, and the future of society and building, carbon footprint is something that we consider always. And we've had a study done on the lifespan and the carbon footprint of a balcony. And the payback period of balconies is usually anywhere between 3 years, 4 months. And so that anything, the life of the balcony is 25 years plus. So any years beyond that span of the payback period is actually negative during the rest of the lifespan, which is a great impact on the carbon footprint. Another great benefit of having glazing systems added to a structure, it provides the structure with greater durability and sustainability. In most open balconies, weather elements and different items like salt, winds, and the weather that it impacts the structure comes normally inside the balconies, and it deteriorates in some of the inner portions of the structure. But if you have the glazing systems on, that prevents a lot of that weather from getting in there, the temperature fluctuations, and the impact on the windows and the concrete inside is reduced greatly. So therefore, the building lasts a lot longer, the longevity of it and the durability, plus reduction on the maintenance costs, which generally is every 8 to 10 years. Maintenance had to be done. Now it extends out to 25 years. So our structures not only protect the end users, the condo dwellers, the apartment livers from the elements, exterior elements that impact them on their balconies and terraces, but it also assists the structures in its durability and sustainability and longevity. As this slide indicates, the driving rain, as I was indicating to you earlier, saltwater winds and the temperatures and the fluctuation of temperatures has a great impact on structures, and it saves in renovation costs and sustainability. All our systems are tested globally for wind loads up to 300 kilometers an hour. And we have a variety of systems and choices within our product series for applications from low rise to high rise that meet and exceed the standards of local building codes. In Canada here, we are CCMC approved and tested in order to have these applications applied to many different developments at varying projects such as low rise, mid rise, and high rise. Another feature, especially because of our newer systems that are coming out, is a better integrated blind system that can be added to our glazing system, not only for the privacy of those living on their balconies, but also for heat control. As this slide indicates, you can control the temperature with the use of blinds or the maneuvering of glass. As this slide indicates, a lot of buildings that do not have balconies, the temperatures in the warmer climates have to be controlled by air conditioning, which increases the amount of energy costs. As those buildings have added balconies onto structures, you get a natural reduction of the amount of energy used to cool the building because of that extra layer on the exterior. And then with the addition of glazing and the maneuvering of panels and the optional addition to blind systems, you can actually control and save energy costs by the use of the glazing systems added to the structure. So over the years, our systems have really changed, and in the addition of our new systems, but also with our latest generation products, we have become more clean line. There's more glass, there's less aluminum on the exterior of our balustrade systems, as well as less aluminum used on the retractable glazing portion. So there's better looks. There's many different designs, and architects, as Mark was indicating earlier, that we can do a lot more with the exterior because the balconies are a very prominent part of different structures out there, and to make it look better is such a great way to add value to the building and also to provide an excellent space for the end users to be living on. So in summary, with all these additional benefits that we can share with our systems, we've helped many different companies actually provide with these systems on their end for their end users. So it is more clean lines and sleek systems, but also to provide a more energy efficient structure is resulting in a more along the lines of more environmental movement, a green movement. And we all need to be focused on reducing our carbon footprint and having an impact. Being more green is a very positive feature, and having your buildings meet those requirements and having some additional features on those buildings will add to becoming more green. So together, we can reach our destination through the use of these systems on our future developments. And I really appreciate your time today and listening to us. Thank you very much. And welcome, Nicholas.
And thank you, Mark de Graaf, for very, very interesting, great insights. You have a vast experience of we were talking about, and very interesting point of views from different stakeholder point of views and stuff like that. We were just thinking that our guest speaker, we have it on recorded video as well, and due to some technical issues, we will send that video after this event to all of the audience, all of the participants. So you will get that, and you can watch what Michael Geller, architect and president of the Geller Group, is talking about how he has seen the balcony evolution worldwide and his insight on that. So you will get the link after this presentation. And what we will do now is go to the Q&A session. So we have a couple of slides here. So if you could put the Q&A slide, please show the Q&A slide. And we have Mark and Henry here with us. So first question, and I think this maybe go to Henry. They have asked in the chat, don't see who has asked this question, but the question goes that in what ways does Lumon support the design process with architects and early stage development plans? I think this will maybe go to Henry, right?
Okay, thank you, Nicholas. Really appreciate that. Great question, and I get that question quite often to me. We have a lot of different technical expertise within our organization, and we have, as Mark mentioned in his presentation, we have a product library with a lot of product files and CAD files, Revit files that architects and designers can ask from us as well, but also recommendations. We have local consultants like Mark and myself and others, and technical staff for design purposes that can assist people in their early design recommendations for a particular project, whether it's mid-rise or high-rise or the like.
Great stuff. And here I have another, and I think this may be for Henry as well, watching here in the chat. The question goes that, what is the best time for Lumon to get involved in a given project and in providing product specifications and recommendations? So I understand this is that what is the right time during the project to try to contact Lumon?
Well, that's also a great question. Sometimes we have people calling us to get involved in a project, and it's sometimes too far along in the development. So my recommendation is call us as early as possible, that we can make the right recommendations. We can maybe suggest some things, and we can point them to some of our technical staff that can help them that. But we do have had several opportunities where people say, well, they do want to insist to having our systems added, and they'll hold the design, they'll change their designs. But earliest in the process is the best thing, and we have the staff and the information for them to make those changes if possible.
Yeah, thank you. So it's as early the better to be able to design a great functional balcony with a functional.
Yeah, if they need to submit a site plan to the city, it's very important that you have the concept added to the renderings, to the initial plans. You know, depending on the municipality, some of them will have heard of it more than others, and so it's very good to have the concept added to the renderings and to the site plan application as well.
Excellent. And this is maybe Mark. I mean, you have been living in high-rise buildings yourself, and have the experience. You showed us a picture of a snowy balcony, your own balcony. And here is a question that someone asked, that is the Lumon system designed and engineered for taller buildings with high wind loads? We can't hear you, Mark. No, we can't hear you, Mark.
I think Marta needs to thanks Marta for unmuting me there. Sorry about that. Yeah, thanks Nicholas for that question. Yes, that is a question that comes up very often, and it's important, of course, for us to design and engineer our system to deal with the extreme wind loads, especially when it comes to taller buildings. And of course, it would be done on a case-by-case basis, where we look at the specific wind loads on that building or that portion of the building, and then design and work closely with engineers to meet and exceed the wind load criteria there.
Yeah.
And then it's also, just so everybody knows too, our system our railings are quite robust, and then we'll design the system whether it's either 8 mil, 10 mil, or 12 mil glass, just to deal with those high wind loads.
Yeah, so the higher and the more wind load, the stronger the system is.
Correct, yes. Mm-hmm.
Now we have a couple of questions left, maybe here, and here's one. This maybe, let's see, could go, yeah, maybe Henry. Its question goes, from a design perspective, what are the most ideal balcony layouts, and what are the defining characteristics of Lumon glazing? I understand that we're talking about what's the shape and size maybe of an optimal balcony.
Yeah, that's also a very good question, because as you know, in some parts of the world, there's curved balconies, there's really octangle type shaped balconies, and you know, those are not always the best shapes for straight glass and aluminum. And although we can sort of accommodate some of the weird shaped balconies, usually we want to have balconies that are either one-sided, two-sided, or three-sided, and different combinations of 90-degree angles, although we also accommodate 135 or 270-degree angles. You know, that doesn't really matter and impact us. We'll design it accordingly, but straight lines and multi-sided is fine, no problems.
Exactly. Good answer to that. And Mark, that it's not always snowing. So here's a question maybe for you. They asked that during nice weather and warm nice weather, does the balcony area get quite hot when all the panels are in the closed position?
Yeah, well, depending on the orientation of the building, of course, we can experience a fair amount of heat gain, but we can still go back to our typical open balcony there. And whether it's just opening up one panel, two panels, opening up the whole system, it's a very nice day. So with the Lumon system, of course, we have it enclosed, but of course, we have that ability to open it right up 100%.
So yeah, so you can adjust the weather with opening one or two panels or the entire balcony if needed, and then when it's getting windy and chilly, you can go back and close them as needed.
And the panels are independent panels, so they can slide, and we can space those panels apart, whether if we want to stagger it and allow for a little bit of a cross breeze, that kind of thing as well.
Yeah. And this to finalize, maybe I think there's one more for you, Mark. So yeah, we can open the glass panels during warm weather, but what about when it's raining? They're asking that we understand that there are some gaps between the panels. How does the system prevent the rain from getting through onto the balcony, I suppose?
Sure. Okay, that's a good question. In this webinar, we didn't get too much into the technical portion of our product, but our system is a single glaze system. The panels are independent panels. They butt up to each other. There's 2-3 mil gaps between the panels. We don't get that, and it's important to remember the balcony remains as the balcony space. So we don't ever tell people it's 100% sealed. It can still allow for a little bit of infiltration of elements, but we don't get that as a complaint generally. Yes, water come in. We always have to think of if somebody leaves some panels open and where that water goes. So we deal with that, and we want to keep the building envelope engineers happy as well. But if somebody were to take, let's say, an example as a hose and spray a water hose at the glass, yes, there would be some infiltration of elements. But for typical weather patterns, that kind of thing, we don't get that too much as a complaint.
Thank you, Mark, for that, and thank you, Henry, both of you. I think there we have answered some of the questions coming up in the chat. As said earlier, if we didn't answer all of the questions, we will get back to you privately in the upcoming days with further details. So hugely thank you, Mark, Henry, Olli, organizers, everyone, and of course, all of you who joined us today. We were thrilled that so many people from so many countries tuned in and stayed all the way through. We can still see most of them online. We hope you all learned a lot today. Today we focused on two things very dear to us. First, on the balcony facade, where the balcony facade world is going, about the trends and ideas. And secondly, on the benefits of a glazed balcony for the many different groups that joined us today, are developers, architects, general contractors, designers, all the way from the early stages in the project, all the way to the end users and the ones that will be living on the balcony for decades. So as we have heard in multiple occasions, outdoor living is the next big thing in the private home construction and design world, and we agree on that and have a long experience out there with these kind of products. So follow us on our several social media channels in different countries, subscribe to our blogs, and stay informed and updated. For further detailed information, you can contact your Lumon representative, your local Lumon representative, and you will receive a mail in the beginning of next week with the recordings of this event, so you can re-watch this and share it with your colleagues that could not assist today. And as we say here at Lumon, we say kiitos, stay safe, and take care.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Mark, and thank you, Nicholas.